Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Let's start with this. This is a video that's older, but it's worth seeing again with everything going on.
Prevents money laundering in theory and all that kind of thing. But what the BRICS nations are doing is saying, well, we don't need to use the SWIFT system because we don't want to be subjected again to U.S. sanctions, because if the U.S. is sanctioning you, you can't move money using that SWIFT system. So what's really interesting is, number one, they're creating a payment system that would go around SWIFT. But how do you do that when you have 5 major countries that all have their own currencies? And one of the ways they're doing that is by using possibly cryptocurrency to do that. That would translate their currencies into a single cryptocurrency that is then used through the system and then formulated, I guess, when it gets into their country, back into their own personal currency.
They're trying to get out from under dollar hegemony, and that's going to happen.
And then there goes the power of the U.S. to impose these sanctions, right?
Correct, because if you, first of all, they're all building alternate payment systems. Even the German foreign minister the other day said Europe needs an alternate payment system. They could do cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying by Bitcoin. Again, this whole alternate system, it's being created now. This is not science fiction, but it could affect the dollar very, very rapidly.
Okay, a lot going on in this world. Here is crazy Looney Tune Nancy Pelosi. Listen to this whack job, and then I'll show you reality.
So then you look at something else. People are concerned about inflation. 16 Nobel laureates came out this week and said that if what's-his-name were elected president, with his fiscal policies, inflation would just increase enormously in our country. And you have Joe Biden on the other side of that screen leading the world in reducing inflation in our country.
Okay, now here's the reality check. Here's just a normal guy that's showing you one of his Walmart orders from back in 2022 and then trying to reorder the same thing now.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I just looked through my Walmart history and I found this Walmart order from 2 years ago for the whole month worth of groceries. 45 items cost $126. A whole month of groceries just for me, basically. But I did notice this reorder all button, and I wanted to see how much it would cost now. Now, this order of 45 items for 1 month would have cost $414. That is 4 times more. How the fuck? How? What?
Folks, I can't tell you enough. This is why I buy physical gold and crypto. Okay. I have a gold sponsor. You can go to milesfranklin.com. Links in the top of the description. Use code DAI Gold. That's what this whole crypto conversation is about, or a big part of it. Now, this is what's coming. Listen to Raoul Pal talk about, in this clip, he's basically saying 100 trillion to 1.4 quadrillion.
Just be part of that trend. 2.5 trillion, 100 trillion. Don't get thrown off.
How do you get 200 trillion for the crypto asset class when the S&P 500 is 50 trillion today?
So this is a unique asset class because it's money. It's the rails for money. It's probably the rails for the financial system. Like equities should be tokenized, more efficient use of better technology, efficient capital. So that's equities, bonds, derivatives. What are derivatives? Particularly OTC derivatives, they're just unique contracts. Well, that's NFTs. Okay, so the financial system, clear. Okay, well, the derivative market is 1.4 quadrillion. Now, it doesn't mean it's 1.4 quadrillion usage of the underlying token you'd need, but that's a lot of value and volume that's going to happen. So that's the real world asset side of the equation.
While you listen to this, you do realize there's only like 2-point-something trillion in all of crypto right now.
Then there's the culture side. We talked about memes. Memes are valuable. What is the value of the culture of Disney? Disney's what, $100, $200 billion company? The value of Disney, culturally, $1 trillion, $2 trillion? It's gigantic. The value of pop stars, the value of all sorts of things, sports teams. We haven't known how to realize these are intangibles. So those kind of things. Then there's just the simple use cases for things like ticketing. Straightforward, all tickets should be NFTs, particularly hotel rooms, plane tickets, all of that kind of stuff. People, it's really interesting. I watch a lot of people, particularly the finance people who get crypto. They're like, yeah, real world assets, that's the big thing. I'm like, yeah, it's huge. I get it. Add together all of the financial services companies in the Western world, all of them. And add together all of the culture companies. And for that, that's Google, because of YouTube and WhatsApp. That's Meta, X. You could add LVMH. You can add, the Disneys, the media companies, the sports teams, the music, everything else. Dwarfs the finance industry, kills it. Just the number of ads that are served on social media, which is just attention monetization, hundreds of billions of dollars a day.
You can see the picture. Now look, Gary Gensler's getting his butt kicked in court once again.
We do want to get back to more breaking news from the Supreme Court. The decision coming down that it's curbing the SEC's use of in-house judges in fraud cases, that it backs the right to jury trial for some SEC defendants. Joining us now with more is Bloomberg Balance of Power co-host Kaylee Lines in Washington. And this certainly seems like a blow to the SEC.
It is indeed, Katie. The SEC uses this in-house tribunal system to try hundreds of fraud cases a year, and now that power is going to be pulled back by the highest court in the land. Essentially, what the Supreme Court has decided here is that those fraud defendants do have a right to a jury trial rather than being tried by the in-house judges at the SEC. And this potentially is removing a key enforcement mechanism for the Securities and Exchange Commission under the chair, Gary Gensler. This will very much change the way in which the SEC conducts its enforcement actions and cases. And this is not the only decision that the Supreme Court has to decide.
At what point do you fire the jerk that's running the place?
Within the next few days, as we reach the end of the term here, that could affect the SEC. Not only does the court potentially have the power, as they did today, to deal a blow to the in-house judges and the way the SEC does business in that case, we are still awaiting a verdict from the court on the Chevron doctrine. This is something that essentially gives agencies, including the likes of the SEC and the EPA, the leeway to read law that is unclear in the way the regulators choose. If they pull that back, that would significantly restrict the ability of these agencies to do so. So we're still awaiting that decision. But of course, we got the SEC curbing the in-house use of judges in SEC fraud cases today. And that's not the only one. The Supreme Court also has rejected the opioid pact with the billionaire
All right, that's enough of that. Now, remember that time that Byron Donalds had Gary Gensler sitting in front of him and he asked him about the Steele dossier, whether he signed off on it? Well, here's your answer.
Just like we do. Jack, you got something going on? By the way, we're doing this for a great cause. We'll be able to tell you about the great cause of what we're doing the signing for sometime in mid-July. I think John Solomon Lovell's a guy named Paul Sperry. Yeah. Paul is over. He's at Real Clear Investigation. McIntyre's team over at Real Clear. All the Real Clear sites are just amazing. I go there every day to kind of start the day.
And Julie Kelly knows too.
And Julie Kelly's in them. But in the investigations, they have Paul Sperry. I think still principally at the New York Post, and Julie Kelly is over there, and many others. This thing today, you got to take a second to explain this, because, folks, this is beyond shocking, and this is why I keep saying there have to be investigations, there has to be adjudicated. People are going to go to prison over this, because this is not normal politics, sir.
Now, he just said people are going to go to prison over this. What has Ryan Selkis been saying over and over and over? He keeps telling Gary Gensler, you're going to jail. Now listen.
Simple, and I can break it down. We only have about a minute till the break here. But here's how it is. When you think about two things, the Steele dossier and the Hunter Biden laptop, the letter which is a response to the Hunter Biden laptop. When you see these things, understand these were not, the responses to them were not just some Democrat tricks. Hillary Clinton didn't cook this up. Do you think Joe Biden cooked up that response? No. What we find in this piece is that Jake Sullivan becomes the agent of the piece, the quarterback, in 2016 for the Steele dossier, and who becomes the agent of the letter?
But Jake Sullivan at the time is a political. He's a national security for Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton.
And who signs off on the payments? By the way, Gary Gessner, who's now the head of the SEC. So, and then
Gensler.
Excuse me.
Used to work with him at Goldman Sachs.
And then, oh yeah, we love your old buddies. And then, who becomes the quarterback for the Hunter Biden letter, the 51 pieces? Tony Blinken.
Oh, hold on, Blinken doesn't do politics.
Blinken, I don't do politics.
He doesn't do
sure
politics.
Here. But here's the piece where Sperry's covered. Yeah. You think those numbskulls put this all together, Tony and Jake Sullivan? No. Who put it all together was Clapper. James Clapper, and we've got the testimony now of Mike Morrell that backs this all up. So Clapper's running the operation. He uses Tony and he uses Jake Sullivan as his agent.
Folks, the crimes are rampant in this country, and Eastgate was just one of them in our backyard. So I'm very proud to have been a part of that, because Gary needs to get what's coming to him. A lot of these people do. Now, tonight we have the debate coming up between Biden and Trump, and so this is Perry Boring today on Fox Business, and then I'll in the group I'll tell you what I think is going to happen.
So it's really no surprise that crypto is a talking point on the campaign trail. Now, when you look at President Biden, he's reportedly going to join a roundtable next month. He's been tweaking his messaging to be more crypto friendly. He
hadn't fired Gary Gensler, and he hadn't told Senator Warren to go fly a kite. So it's still going.
Louder than words here, though. He recently angered the community by vetoing a bipartisan resolution that would have limited the SEC's oversight.
49% of eligible voters are either Gen Zs or millennials. So crypto is the majority party. I think many of them are very motivated after being attacked by the Biden administration for the past 4 years.
So, Stuart, neither candidate has laid out a specific plan, but we've been speaking with large players like Coinbase in the space. The industry is spending a lot of money, and it really has the potential to pick one of the candidates this fall.
Yeah, it does. Very interesting.
Yes, it does. Now, in DAI XRP, I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. I think that they're about to make a move, and this has, I don't normally talk about politics on this channel, but this has everything to do with Operation Choke Point 2.0 and putting a stop to it. And at this point, it's pretty obvious which party needs to be put in the White House. And we'll go over what I think is going to happen. I'm going to tell you what I think is imminent, what's about to happen on the political stage that will affect us all. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.